Rob, what would you say your most expensive geek purchase is?
Probably the Satellaview.
But let's leave consoles out of this because they get to be really expensive and everybody gets them.
Fine, the 64DD.
Dude, I said no consoles.
Okay, the Neo Geo.
Oh my god, dude. Don't make this into a pissing contest.
This looks like some cheap shit. Did you get this at a garage sale?
You sacrilegious whore! What are you talking about? This is expensive things!
We're going to talk about our most expensive purchases, and frankly, I think you and I are bystanders here.
Honestly, I agree with you.
So we should probably go first.
Okay.
And I'm guessing that probably you should go first because you're the wisest of all of us.
You mean I live hand to mouth?
Well, this was, it was such a weird topic because I don't like talking about these things. I don't look at my basement like,
You don't
oh
like
my
to
god,
say
look how
anything
much
like-
I've spent on this. Because it's a question I get asked quite often. It's like, how much do you think
No
is...
one's ever asked you that.
This whole
Shut
piece
up.
is probably worth $45 total.
Probably.
Easily.
Probably. It is all open.
That's what I'll give it for.
I don't keep my boxes.
I can't believe you open things.
But I don't think about these things. And then so I was like, I wonder what it is that I probably have spent the most money on.
Imagine if he dusted.
I dusted some of it, and it's terrible. I got like 3 figures in, and I was like, done.
Go ahead, Tina. You started off. What is the most expensive thing that you have bought for your
I've actually
collection?
already talked about it in a prior episode, which is my Bon Clay, the Bon Clay Tour Edition.
That's from One Piece.
From One Piece. I think he cost approximately like $290 USD when I got him, which is close to
That's an
$300.
expensive figure.
It was an expensive figure, incredibly. Like, I thought long and hard. In fact, I left Mandrake and then I came back because my
was it
thing is
used or was it new? Because
was
if you
new.
got them at Mandrake,
Mint.
they're usually used.
new, completely unopened in box, so it was new.
For our viewers, can you go describe what Mandarake is?
Mandrake.
It's this wonderful place like heaven.
It's heaven in Japan!
It kind of looks like this,
Except it's good
except
stuff.
everything is for sale.
Everything.
And you're like, oh my god,
Yes,
I want everything. And you go talk to the guy behind the counter, and he doesn't understand what the fuck I'm saying.
And he's
because
like, no.
But no, it's a great. They own like 4 locations. They have an
Right.
online presence where you can buy. That's where I get a lot of the Sentai Ranger
But their
stuff.
best stuff is at their physical location.
Oh yeah, so $290 for a figure.
For a figure.
And I was also curious because we all collect different things. I mean, I collect everything you all do. That's probably part of my problem. But I wanted to know what you guys like, what you've spent the most money on. So $290.
Wow, okay.
I mean, if you're not including game systems, like my PS4 outweighs.
See, I thought
But I
about
don't-
that
I
because I,
don't
think
count
everybody goes
that.
through consoles. Like, you know,
Right.
when you're a day
Yeah.
one guy, when these consoles drop, man, those systems
On
are
the-
$600.
So for the Switch, and I can talk about this later, for the Switch, I spent probably $1,500 on day one for the Switch.
But you consider the Switch like a system for the whole family. This is how you justify it. You're like, oh, it's not just for me; it's for everyone's enjoyment.
Nice.
Lies, yeah. Well, the Switch, this is a really special case because I think I bought like 2 because I couldn't figure out what color I wanted, and I bought a couple extra Master Editions.
What the
and
fuck
standard
is wrong with you?
editions. I took them back.
Don't even.
I took them back.
All right, Dan, you're next,
All right,
buddy.
well, so actually Tina wins over me. This Megatron figure is the most expensive thing I can remember buying in a very long time. There might have been stuff back in the past that I paid a little bit more for, but I can't imagine what it would have been. This was $230.
$200.
And it's
$30.
Yeah, I mean, $230 new. It's I'm going to transform it live on the show now, and we'll just wait.
Yeah, does it turn into a gun?
It turns into a gun, of course.
Don't say of course.
It takes like half an hour to
No, I
transform.
mean, the
yeah, don't say of
detail-
course. Say of course, you stupid bastard.
And it's the first of the new Masterpiece kind of era that are much more expensive, but
Yeah.
are much more complicated.
You feel that way about Sunstreaker
Yeah,
too?
Megatron and Sunstreaker. Megatron, everybody's like $230. What the shit? And then Sunstreaker was $120, which was which is $40 more than the rest of the cars.
Yeah.
But they're both incredibly complex figures and really, really well made. I mean, and
He looks amazing. He looks exactly like the show.
Yeah.
I'm curious what he looks like.
Exactly.
I have kept my Apollyon in hopes that they would reduce the price, because is this the first version or version 2?
This is version 2.
Yeah. So I'm hoping, I don't know, man, I'm going to probably break and end up getting him, because
He is
I like
awesome.
the colors.
Yeah.
The colors are nice. Because Apollyon is very shiny and metallic, but this looks more cartoon-like. So, we'll jump back and forth between us, because I feel like this is going to be a pissing contest. But not really. It's going to be more like a nerd-shaming contest.
Exactly. I was crying over
Oh my god. Okay, so I'll bring it to video games. I love video games as much as you do, but video games have kind of taken a back seat to the other stuff that I collect. The most expensive video game to date, I try not to buy games, like I try to get them as they come out. So like I get a collector's edition. If I miss out on the collector's edition, like I've told our Ni no Kuni story, I refuse to go back and buy it because it gets insane. Like the case with Heavenly Sword and all these games that I missed, that I'm like, I could have gotten it. If I find it cheap enough later, I will, but I'm not going to pay over the amount of money that it costs.
I'm that way with like the Monster Hunter World Collector's Edition. Like I didn't know what Monster Hunter World was enough to buy the $150 that they wanted.
Right.
But now it's like $250. So if I see it,
I can't. Okay, so this is only a part of Ni no Kuni 2. My story about Ni no Kuni 1 missing the fucking collector's edition and went to Rob.
Yeah, it was great.
Got me worried, so I'm like, I pre-ordered this day one, even
name
with
was on
the.
it.
So this thing was $190.
Yeah, about $200.
$189,
Yeah.
right? And that's retail.
Or why
But-
please don't be watching this episode.
No, don't worry.
And I thought long and hard about, I said it
She
again,
said.
about buying
Buying
that.
this, yeah, it's beautiful. Like, at first I'm like, oh my god, what am I paying for? I have never paid this much for a new game. I haven't played the game. It could be ass, but my kids loved the very first one, so I'm like, I'm gonna get it.
There's a 3D papercraft.
Right.
And there's a plush. And there's a metal book. And there's a Blu-ray of how it made it. And there's a soundtrack, a select soundtrack. And then there's that thing.
And an
and
art
an
book.
Does it come with the game?
Yes.
You forgot to mention the game.
Hold on, I'm trying to think. I think the game's in the box with some DLC. I think.
Well, we'll talk about that here in a second.
So you
even,
get at least
even at a discount, I think it was 160
$60,
bucks,
something
right?
like that.
I'm like, this is the most fucking expensive game I've ever paid for. Because like I said, I have missed games. Like I can't replace my Panzer Dragoon Saga just based on that thought. Like I can't, because I know I'm never going to be able to find it for more, or for cheaper than
less than-
60 bucks, which
yeah.
is what I paid for it when I first got it. So, you talking about video games? Does it come with a video game? There are collector's editions that come with no physical media. That comes with a fucking downloadable code.
Do you remember when
Yeah.
I brought in Sonic Mania?
Yeah.
It was Sonic standing on a Genesis, and a ring, and a cartridge, and a
Nothing
code.
physical.
No game. No game.
What?
It was literally came
No,
with a code
no,
on
no,
a piece
no.
of paper.
I will not. I
That is so
refuse to
ridiculous.
buy something like
Now,
that.
so Sonic Mania, actually, I guess the people were like, "Oh, this game sells like Game Busters. It's good." There is going to be a physical a release of Sonic Mania with a game this time. So I almost feel gypped that I went
Nice.
ahead and bought a Genesis and no actual game. It's fine.
So-
I want to double dip anyway, so it's fine. On the Switch.
What is wrong with you?
On the Switch.
We need a budget episode. Okay, so
We should do a budget episode.
we should not.
Just spreadsheets.
so okay,
I got $5.
what would you say, like, some of your, because we'll come back to me about
all
other
right,
things
all right.
I'm into.
So my copy of Dragon War 3 Color game for the Game Boy Color comes with the box and the docks. When this game came out, it was not much, $30 or something.
Mm-hmm.
But I got into the Dragon Warrior / Dragon Quest series a little bit late into the game. So my copy of the game was $50, which is a bit more than $30 because it was a very low run, and also I paid almost as much for the hint guide, because the hint guide was even a smaller limited run.
The what guy?
The hint guide.
Oh, the hint
strategy guide.
Gotcha.
So yeah, Dragon. The game. It's fantastic. It's even better than the NES original Dragon War. Better translation, cool effects. Like it's an updated version of that game, which is one of my favorite Dragon Quest games. Is the third one.
So keeping up with games that you miss, what would you say another purchase of yours is that you missed out on when it first came out, and you're like, damn it, I should have bought it. I was waiting for it to get cheap, because that's happened to me, which I'll bring up here in a minute. What would you say your next game is?
So I worked at Babbage's.
Nothing but bad bitches in here tonight. Bad bitches only.
America's Computer Software Quarters. And we sold Japanese games, right?
I think I bought mine from either you or Shane.
You probably did. You probably bought it from me. You better not have bought it from Walnut Software. Shut up, I kill you. So, Radiant Silvergun, we sold Japanese Saturn games, and I went through a whole bunch, and I have another one too. I went through a whole bunch of these Saturn Japanese games, and I bought this game with our awesome Babbage's discount, which was like 25%, so 25% off 60, right? Cheap. Played it with my brother, and I was like, I hate to say this, I said, this game is garbage.
Wow.
And I returned Radiant Silvergun. Keep in mind that I bought it for like $40, brand new. I returned it.
Had the Rotten Tomato reviews not come out yet?
It wasn't the thing. It wasn't the thing. So, years go by, and I think I downloaded a bootleg of Radiant Silvergun because our buddy, our mutual friend of the show, Keith Rainey, was like, hey man, Radiant Silvergun is dope. You're stupid. You need to try it again. Like, you're stupid.
You talk about treasure so much that
I know, exactly.
How do you not collect all the treasure games?
I love treasure. So I thought it was a shoo-in, but I guess I didn't get deep enough into the game, so I booted up on my Hack Saturn, and I was like, this game is dope. This game is ill. I must acquire it. At this point, the game had shot way up. So on my last trip, or a trip to Japan, I don't remember if I had someone do this for me or I did it myself, but I found a copy of Radiant Silvergun, and it was in decent condition. It wasn't new, and it cost me $160 when I had paid $40. And this is one of those instances where I felt so horrible that I had let the game go and then rebought it for 6 times as much, screwing myself. Okay, that's not how the math works out. But anyway, 4 times as much is what I paid for it. And it just drove me nuts. But it was definitely worth it because now I have a copy of Radiant Silvergun. I think the first time I put the disc in the Saturn, like it fell out and scratched itself. I was like, no! I made 160 things and flew it back in my hand. But Radiant Silvergun.
Still not that bad. Okay. So I'm gonna go back to the Transformers here. So I got into Transformers, and I saw Dan's Masterpiece Collection, and I got dick envy. I'm like, man, I gotta get some. And Dan's like, oh, you need these. They have the stock cars now. And I'm like, oh, come on, man, don't show me this shit. And he's like, oh, they're still all in stock. So I'm like, all right, fine, I'll get them. And then he was like, I joined a forum or something, and I kept seeing these third-party Transformers, like the ones here. And I'm like, oh man, those are cool. But I know I'm weak. And I know if I buy one, I'm going to have to get them all. And I can't do that. Mm-hmm. So we should do an episode on that too. It's like, when do you stop? Okay, so I got big into the combiners because the combiners were some of my favorite Transformers that I couldn't afford as a kid. So I made them out of corn husk. So I was huge into like, the Constructicons, Devastator, that's the same guy, sorry.
So far you've named one.
Shut up! Predaking. Don't do that. And Abominus. So I started getting third-party pieces because the way I justified it, I'm like, each piece is $100, right? Mm-hmm. And there's 5 of them, but it's $100 now, and he's a cool robot. I don't think, like, after I'm done collecting 5 pieces, it's going to be $50,000. So each piece was $100, and I passed up on him because I was waiting for a sell. And I was like, well, shit. I wonder if they'll ever have a... So he has a gun. Dan, the gun.
Done.
I mean, look how big this fucking... Look at that. Just holding that gives me power. Anyway.
Just holding that terrifying.
So, still probably the most expensive Transformer piece I've bought so far. But the way I'm seeing it, I mean, we had a $250 toy. Dinobot is what? The retail of Dinobot? $275, $280?
He's not cheap.
So, I mean, they're getting to be this expensive. And I hate to think about that because $500 sounds a lot better than $50,000, at least in my head.
Even though they are the same. And going back to Babbage's America's Computer Circle thing, we sold Earthbound for the Super Nintendo.
Yep.
You all have heard of this game. Cult game, fantastic game.
Scratch and sniff stickers.
Yes, it came with a hint book with scratch and sniff stickers, and it was a fantastic game, written by Toshi-san, or Itoi-san, and it's a great game, but it came out in the period of the Super Nintendo's lifespan where people weren't buying as many Super Nintendo games, and it was a quirky RPG. Mm-hmm. They weren't as super popular, so it sold at a really low run, like 20,000 pieces, right? So I bought Earthbound for 25% off, so it was super cheap. I bought this game, I played this game, I was like, Earthbound's not for me, so I returned it. And I hadn't scratched off the scratch and sniff sticker, so it was still fun to return, right? Fast forward years ago, someone comes up to me and says, Earthbound is a dope game, you're stupid, go try this again. It might have been Keith again, I don't know, or maybe my brother. It's like, alright, fine, I'll go replay this game. So I downloaded a ROM, and I was like, this game has awesome music. This game is fun. I need to rebuy this game because I am one of those guys. I'm not a ROM emulator kind of guy. I want to have the actual real deal Holyfield. So I go to try and buy Earthbound, complete in a box with the scratch assist stickers. Take a guess how much this costs.
Probably upwards of $600.
That's how much it is now. At the time, it was only $250.
That's cheap, yeah. Because when I looked at purchasing one, I was like, yeah, no.
Yeah, $600 as well. Yeah, it hovers between $500 and $600 complete. I've seen it as much as $1,000 with everything, right?
So what did you get for it?
$80 with the 20% discount, just for the cartridge itself. I didn't buy the box and the docks. Okay. So some days I regret not getting the box, and the handbook is actually legitimately cool. Later on, Nintendo released the hint guide as a PDF. So if I really have a hankering for it, I could go print it out.
You can do, at Fangamer, they have a nice hardcovered, have you ever heard of Fangamer?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they have a nice hardcover
That's where the shirt came
manual
from.
And everything, yeah.
So yeah, so I won't get the original book in docs and things, but I do have a legit copy of the game, and that was good enough for me.
I collected editions of comic books, right? I started with the Omnibus, and my whole thing with omnibuses and collected editions is I am never going to pay over whatever the cover price is because that's ridiculous. There's online places that I can get them at a discount. So I started with, like the Marvel stuff, moved on to DC, and then I'm like, oh man, I'm just going to stop collecting comic books and just start getting everything in collected editions.
Sure.
I wanted to get into the Usagi Yojimbo stuff because I enjoyed that when I was younger. And I picked up this book. I pre-ordered this book, and this is Usagi Yojimbo Saga. This is the limited edition hardcover #1. Anybody that watches this that actually knows about these books, this is one of the most rarest collected edition books ever because it was a limited run and of 900, and this is 71. So I'm like, okay, cool. But I knew there was stuff before Dark Horse owned the rights to it. And I wanted to get it, and I know that Fantagraphics had the right, and I knew that they had a hardcover. What I didn't know is how much it was, because I had seen this box set before. This is a $100 box set, by the way. This collects the first 7 Yojimbo stories, and these are in hardcover, the way that I wanted them. And the retail, like I said, is $100. I missed out on it. It went out of print, and I kept seeing it for $100, $120. Now I'm like, I'm just gonna wait. I waited till I think volume 2 of that was out, and I'm like, maybe it's time to check it out to see if it's gone down any. Well, now it was $250, and I was like, holy shit, $250, and just a couple months ago it was $110. What are the odds that they reprint that? Because that one's not numbered. This isn't numbered. So I'm like, there's a small chance that Fantagraphics will reprint it. And I started doing research to see. By the way, it was $250 used, not new.
Used. Okay.
So I started seeing like a pattern with Fantagraphics that they did not reprint a lot of these box sets. They don't really reprint a lot of their hardcovers. Mm-hmm. Like the Charlie Brown box sets. The Peanuts box sets that I own. They go out of print. Very, very rare do they ever reprint one, and that one. It was like when such a huge demand. Well, so I was like, well, fuck. I sold some comic books. I got $250 hoping that it was still there. So this is probably the one that I have spent the most money on because, like I said, the retail was $100. This was $250. But now, if you look on Amazon, that's how much a like new will go for.
If you look at his screen, it says...
Oh, and it says $602. $600. So still, like, it held its value. I don't know. I don't even want to look at how much this is because this is one of those rare white whales that everybody goes after. Now this, I did give... this was 40% off when I pre-ordered it. But this, $250 was the most I've ever spent. That's $150 over cover. I've never done that, and I haven't done that since. Because I'm a firm believer. I'm like, I can wait, but I never saw this book anywhere. Yeah. A lot of the books that I'm missing out of my collection, like Tomb of Dracula, which is getting reprinted omnibus, I actually saw in stores and had a chance to get it, but this I had never seen. So that's my biggest one.
I think you win. I don't know if I've gone that much over retail.
Well, it's only what, Dan, mathematically speaking?
I'm a lawyer. Why are you asking me?
$150 over, dude.
Right. So technically, you still win with Radiant Silver.
4 times as much. Yeah, that's true.
Thank you very much for watching, and now you know what our biggest geek purchases are. What are some of yours? And I hope to God our wives are not watching this episode. If you like what you saw, don't forget to subscribe and like the video. I mean, it's just money, right? You can't take it with you. And now you know what some of the most expensive purchases that we've had on the what was that at the time? And now you know what some of the biggest fuck me in the fucking ass. God damn it, I can't remember jack shit.
You ass.
Thank you again for watching. Motherfucker, I almost fucking heard it.
Okay,
God damn it, fuck you.
None of our properties.
Thank you very much for watching. And now you know what our biggest fucking big fucking gaping assholes are. Shit.
So not close.
How do I get it the first time?
geeky.
Geeky.
Shut up.